Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. This is Sci Prime Productions, a new YouTube channel, so bear with me as I figure things out. Today I thought I'd do a video of some great Pathfinder 2e weapons that you may not have heard of. These are all weapons that are not found in the core rulebook or Player Core 1, but I have found to be really useful in my games. You can find the stats for all of these items in Archives of Nethys. So, in no order in particular, here are my personal top 5 favorite weapons you've never heard of in Pathfinder 2e. Number 5, the Boomerang from the Treasure Vault. A lot of players are drawn to throwing weapon builds, and that's smart. Throwing weapons can be used at range, so you aren't in danger, but they also add your strength bonus to damage, meaning that you can be pretty effective in combat with them. The problem is, until you get a returning rune on your weapon, they aren't really viable unless you just are covered in daggers and javelins. In some campaigns, you may never have the chance to buy or make your own returning rune, and your access to copious amounts of weapons may be limited, such as in the Frozen Flame adventure path. Enter the Boomerang. This weapon has the returning trait, meaning it comes back to you if your attack is, quote, unsuccessful, unquote, meaning a miss or critical miss. It also has the unique property that it comes back to you if your attack is successful, meaning a hit or critical hit. Now listen, I know that's not how boomerangs work in real life, but for a fantasy setting with magic and giants and dinosaurs running around, I'm willing to suspend disbelief and say that there are returning boomerangs. The Boomerang has a range of 60, which is as much as you're ever going to need unless you get into a super long distance battle, and it does a respectable D6 bludgeoning damage. The only problem is that it's uncommon, so you'll have to get GM permission to get one. Number 4, the Dancer's Spear from the Treasure Vault book. This martial weapon is a melee spear that isn't designed to be thrown. Instead, it's flexible enough that it has the finesse trait, meaning that rogues can sneak attack with it, investigators can use studied strike, and swashbucklers can perform finishers with it. It also has the reach trait, so melee attacks are really opened up with it, as you can use it to attack from up to 10 feet away. A very similar weapon is the Elven Branched Spear from the Grand Bazaar book. Both are two-handed martial weapons with finesse that do a d6, and both are uncommon. You can get access to the Elven Branched Spear through the Elven Weapon Familiarity or Uncommon Weaponry Ancestry feats, but most GMs will either allow you to get these weapons in major settlements. I tend to prefer the Dancer Spear slightly over the Elven Branch Spear because the Dancer Spear allows you to whack people with the butt end doing bludgeoning damage. This is great because there are few things in the game that resist both piercing and bludgeoning damage, so having the option to do both is pretty great. Number 3, Canes from the Grand Bazaar. Canes, yes, just plain old canes, in Pathfinder are weapons. In particular, the Probing Cane and Griffin Cane are standouts. The Probing Cane is supposed to be one of those long sticks that blind people use to help them get around, called a mobility cane in real life. However, in Pathfinder, it is a one-handed D6 bludgeoning weapon with the finesse trait, meaning you can use your dex to hit with it. This is fantastic, as it is one of the few finessable bludgeoning weapons that do D6. This allows rogues to confidently take on skeletons and oozes. On the other hand, we have the Griffin Cane, which works normally as a club, but also has the two-handed D10 trait, meaning your barbarian can sneak a D10 weapon into that fancy ball by faking a leg injury. Both of these weapons are martial weapons, and they are also common, so you can buy them pretty much anywhere. Even if you can't find one, with the new crafting rules in the remaster, you could just make them in a few days, even if you don't have the weapon formula. Number 2, the Flyssa from the Treasure Vault. Okay, so at first look, the Flyssa looks like an exact copy of a short sword. It has all the same stats. It's a martial weapon, does a d6 damage, finesse, agile, and can do slashing or piercing damage. The only difference is that the Flyssa is in the knife group instead of the sword group. What does that matter? Well, if you have critical specializations unlocked, a knife does bleed damage when it crits, whereas a sword makes the opponent off guard until the start of your next turn. Making an opponent off guard is really easy in Pathfinder. All you have to do is flank or get them on the ground, meaning you probably already have them off guard when you use this weapon. So bleed just is a bonus. Number 1, the bow staff from the treasure vault. Okay, so the bow staff sounds stupid, but mechanically it's amazing. It is a staff that you can, with a single action, transform into a bow, like a bow and arrow bow. The staff itself is finessable, meaning it's great for rogues, investigators, and swashbucklers. And then you can spend an action to effectively turn it into a short bow. Any magical properties on one apply to both, so long as the magical properties can apply to both a melee and ranged weapon. It also has the parry trait, meaning that in melee form, as an action, you can give yourself a +1 bonus to armor class as if you had raised a buckler. Oh, and in both forms they have the monk trait, meaning that a monk can use them with a single feat. My swashbuckler's been using one in a campaign for 5 levels, and as of this video, it's been working out fantastic. Also, it's a common weapon, meaning you can buy them at most settlements or make one yourself for a few days in the crafting skill. Alright, that's it. Just a short video where I wanted to show you some pretty interesting weapons that I don't think get enough love. If you got to the end of this video, I want to thank you. You may not know this, but YouTube tracks if you watch the entire video or not, so thank you for sticking around. If you like this channel and want to see it grow, please like, subscribe, and comment. That tells YouTube and me that you would like to see more of this kind of content. Until then, thanks, good luck, and happy gaming.